It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook.
On our last trip, it was rough going. It was like Indiana Jonesing through the jungle, and then we get out and there's pelting rain because there's always wind in Patagonia, and we get to the top, the summit, and the sun breaks through the clouds, and there's glaciers all around us, which is, it makes my heart beat. And so that's not on me. That's the weather. That's Patagonia, right? But that is a moment that brings tears to people's eyes. And that's what I want to create. Like, I'm going to take you there so that we can have moments like that.
In 2015, it might have been 2014, actually. So a long time ago, I received a CD in the mail, a compact disc. And for those of you who don't know what that is, well, then you are very young and I am very old. Anyway, I got a CD in the mail. I open it and there's a video. And I play the video, and it's from a woman named Jackie Nourse, and she is known as Traveling Jackie. She had sent this beautiful testimonial and thank you video to me for helping her in her trajectory with creating an amazing blog and a brand, and I invited her on the podcast today. In fact, I should have invited her a long time ago, but this is such a fun interview because we get to talk about Jackie and her journey and kind of where SPI inserted itself as a guide into her journey. But really, she's the one who's taken it to whole new levels and is now somebody who has created a lot of in-person trips and creates experiences for people who want to travel as well. We talk about her brand and how she was able to do that. But we also talk about the pandemic and how detrimental that was to her brand, but also how she kind of pivoted a little bit and experimented and rebranded and the opportunities that came about as a result of that. We do talk a lot of travel in this particular episode. I am not nearly as well-traveled as she is, so we talk a little bit about experiences, but this is just a fun conversation with a fan just like you, somebody who had once listened to the show and has taken their brand to an amazing level. So Traveling Jackie here on this episode, you're going to love her. She's amazing, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. It's a lot of fun.
You're listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, a proud member of the Entrepreneur Podcast Network, a show that's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He always puts on his left sock before his right one, Pat Flynn.
Running a business means legal questions are inevitable. Is this contract or agreement solid? What can I do if a client won't pay me? Am I set up properly for taxes? Well, rather than trying to navigate all of this on your own or searching endlessly online, imagine having a law firm on your side without the high hourly rates. That's exactly what Legal Shield's small business plans offer. With Legal Shield, entrepreneurs get access to real legal support, contract reviews, collection letters, guidance on business formation, and even help handling IRS audits. Members can book consultations, upload documents through the app, and work with a provider law firm that understands small business laws in your state. You also get proactive help on tax and trademark questions so you can stay ahead of legal risks. And if a client delays payment, Legal Shield can send professional collection letters to help you recover what you're owed, all for a fraction of what traditional attorneys charge. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. While DIY website tools are everywhere, most fall short on design and performance. Hit publish. Framer ships your site worldwide in seconds. No code, no compromises. Framer is a powerful, user-friendly platform that delivers developer-level results without writing a single line of code. Make your designs move and convert with Framer. Framer brings your site to life with powerful animations, dynamic content handling, and a design-first approach that helps your site stand out. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. Browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something of your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, scroll and looping animations, and much more in seconds. And it's free to start. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting of generating starter layouts and can even translate your entire site to any language. On the back end, you'll get responsive breakpoints, built-in hosting, a flexible CMS, and privacy-friendly analytics. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at Framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's Framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Jackie, welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Pat. It's really my honor to be here. So thanks for having me.
It's always fun connecting with a fellow podcaster because I know the mic's going to sound good. I know we can tell great stories. So I'm just really excited about this. And I know that you have a story to tell, and I'd love to learn about where this all started. You know, Jump Adventures and the traveling and the things that you're doing to help others travel and get outside is amazing. How did you get started with all of that?
It actually started for me a very long time ago, 20 years to be exact, because I was 18 when I first moved overseas. I went to Costa Rica to study abroad. And because it was the only thing I knew I was really passionate about was going to learn Spanish. And so while college was still kind of a mystery to me, I knew I wanted to study abroad. And so I went for a year and it totally changed my life. I mean, I think it actually, I like to say it didn't change it. It started it. It created it because that was when I was a brand new baby adult, right? Just spreading my wings and getting out of the nest. I mean, I was 18 and that year really kind of built the cornerstones of what would be the foundation from which I would then exist. That was travel. That was on a stage of travel. And it was the first time that I really felt like me. And I crushed the Spanish, but I also learned how to dance salsa. And I met new people from all over the world and I learned how to travel, kind of like the ropes of just navigating a foreign country and being a minority and just everything that it means to live in a foreign place. And I was in love. I absolutely loved it. And I liked who I was there. And that was probably the biggest realization for me is how do I continue doing this? Because this is me. This is the first time I've really felt like me. And so when I went home, I like to say home, quote, home. I like to say I took that flight kicking and screaming because I just didn't want to go. And that basically just turned into a snowball of continuing to figure out how to travel. So that was my first year of study abroad. But then I went for another year in Italy and I learned Italian and I did the whole thing all over again with a totally different experience because it was a different continent, a different language, different people, a different international experience. And I was still just couldn't get enough. And I just kept going and going. And I ended up backpacking through Central America and studying abroad in Brazil. And at some point along the line there, I started one of those Blogspot blogs.
Oh, Blogspot. Wow, we're going way back. Yeah.
I know. It actually still exists somewhere on the internet, but that was for my mom and my friends and anybody who was kind of paying attention because this is before Wi-Fi.
You were just kind of journaling your experiences.
I wasn't even using punctuation. It's not properly writing. Yeah, it was just kind of scribbling to make sure people knew I was alive. I was having a great time. Here's some images and, off I go. Because, that was before Wi-Fi. It was before cell phones. I didn't have a cell phone. I would get one when I'd go abroad starting in Italy, I had one. But it's all different then. There's no Wi-Fi. So you're not connected. You're just off doing your thing. Mom and dad are happy to not get any news because no news is good news, So I'd check in here and there and just kind of go. 10 years into that was when I learned about affiliate marketing. And this is through a mutual friend of ours, Pete Sven, who has DIY Pete, his whole empire. He's a friend of mine and he approached me and he's like, do you know about affiliate marketing? I was doing a different thing at the time, but he saw the potential and he introduced me to your podcast. I think it was episode 44 or that popular one. That's
oh, wow.
affiliate marketing from way back in the day. And I listened to it and I was like, oh my gosh, I was born for this. Like everything that I'm doing basically set me up to create a real travel blog, like a website that I just didn't even know you could do that professionally. And so that's where I started. I hit the ground running with it. Within a month of having that conversation, I had launched my blog. And because I learned from the best how to do the online business thing from the very beginning, it was set up as a business. And I knew I was going to make it work because of who I am. This was it. I could see the path. I found my thing. And so it started as just the travel blog. And then a year after that is when I went to a conference called New Media Expo in Vegas. Pete and I went there together. I saw you talk for the first time. I think that's where we met in person for the first time. That was after I had published that book and sent you that CD that you have
I still have it on the
know.
wall over here from a long time ago. That was
so funny.
Thank you for sending me that. I mean, I often don't hear the real stories of how I've been able to help people, but to hear yours and what you've done with it. And it's just, I don't know why I waited so long for you to come on the show. I'm so sorry. Like, I feel like you definitely deserve to be here.
You know what? Thank you for saying that, but I believe in timing. I believe that timing is, and I mean, as you were saying, Jackie, welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast. I was having an out of body experience. It's like, that's so wild because we go way back. I mean, so that conference marked a huge turning point for me because I met Lou Mangello, who you probably also know, who's a podcaster, and he sat me down and he said, you need to start a podcast. And I was like, Lou, I just started a blog. I'm terrified. I don't know what to do. Why should I have a podcast? And I couldn't get his words out of my head. He had these bullet points. He's like, you need to do this. You need to go to this conference. You need to speak at this conference, but you need to start a podcast. And I have completed my Lou list by now. I've done all of those things that he gave me, but it started with the podcast. And I launched it, I think, within another month because that was in January and I launched it at the end of April or at the end of March, I think. Yeah. And so it was 2 months later, I found myself being a podcaster, which was both amazing and terrifying, as you probably know, because the exposure that you get when you put yourself out there on a podcast is entirely uncontrollable. I actually ended up in New and Noteworthy, like smack in the middle, right in the middle of the page on Apple. And I sat there for 8 weeks. And so, which I don't know, like none of us know the algorithm, right? It's magic. And it was on my side. I like to think, even though it was really scary because I started getting reviews but anyway, actually, I'm going to say something about that review. I got a 1-star review for my first review ever.
Oh no.
It was horrible. They were talking about my voice. They said most annoying voice outside of NPR. And I wanted to crawl into a cave and never come out. And that's when I really had to dig deep and ask myself if I even wanted to continue doing this. And that's when the good reviews started coming in. And I remember something that you actually said once that I keep in my back pocket with me all the time. And it was something like, every minute you spend on a hater is a moment wasted with someone who loves you. And I had to focus on the people who were bringing me the positivity to keep going. And I'm really glad I did because now we're here. I mean, that was in 2014. So it was almost 10 years ago. But I can't even imagine if I had let that voice shut me down back then.
That's a tough one, though. I mean, you're putting yourself out there. You're like, I just hope people love it and get something out of it. And then you get that first review. That's so terrible. And, hurt people and people have their opinions and, they're welcome to share it. And I'm just glad it didn't knock you off totally because here you are now nearly 10 years later with millions of downloads. And what is the podcast? Let's fast forward to now. Like, what has the podcast opened up for you? What has it done now that you've, committed some time into it?
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm really grateful for that, that exposure because that is what really set me apart. It was the audience. Like I had suddenly all these people paying attention and because of the audience. So I want to go back to my personal kind of goal in the whole thing was, to figure out how I could continue living this lifestyle of adventure and travel because that was where my passion lies. That's where I come alive. And that was what I believed in pursuing. And I really enjoyed talking about it. And so now I have these people watching me. And I remember at some point when I was still in university, I wrote in my journal. I've always been a writer. I've always kept a journal, and I was going through them recently, and I found an entry where I said, because I remember thinking this, but this was sometime in college that I said, one day I want to be able to take people on trips. Like I had all these ideas. I could be the interpreter and the photographer and the guide. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm crazy, because I would never try and do all of those things. But that was my dream. I had experienced so much just personal discovery and come to lifeness and just seeing what's outside the box and pushing my comfort zone and all of that through travel, that I wanted other people to do it. How can I do that? How can I show people that? And so it started with the whole independent travel thing. Like, this is how I do it. This is how you can do it. And then I made my dream come true in 2016, which was inviting people to come on a trip with me. I had no idea if it was going to work, but because of the podcast and the audience that I had gained, and I had started another travel blog in 2015 that's more personal. That's my Traveling Jackie site. That's like, it's like the patflynn.com versus the Smart Passive Income, like there's the brand and then there's the person. And I took that personal blog and took it on a journey that was very vulnerable, and I shared a lot. And I think I gained a lot of people who can relate, I gained a lot of people who just wanted to see what would happen once I went off on this journey. And that overlapped with this timing of getting to invite people to come on a trip with me. And as much as I wanted to do it in the past, you've got to have thousands and thousands of people paying attention to even get 10 people to come on a trip. You can't just ask a room of 10 people and expect anyone to say yes, right. Which is why I did a whole lot of solo travel leading up to this point. But then I invited people to come to Patagonia with me, and 6 people said yes. Wow. And I took them down to Torres del Paine National Park, and we hiked on the Chile side and on the Argentina side. And it was, I think, still to this day, my absolute favorite group trip that I've ever led, because it was perfect. Like, nothing went wrong and everyone was so excited. And it was my first time doing it that I was like, what have I just discovered? This is the beyond. Like, this is where I'm meant to be. And how do I continue doing this? And so then it became a pursuit of, okay, how do I keep doing this? And I think we're up to 17, 18 international trips now.
Wow.
1 stateside. Yeah. And it's small. I mean, that's been since 2016, but it's because I'm on the trips and I keep it personal, I guess. And it's absolutely a dream come true. That's like a big fast forward. That's a big nutshell for you, but that's kind of the story.
There's a lot to unpack there for sure. I'm curious about when you put the word out there that you wanted to do this thing with other people. What was going through your mind, and how did you respond when you started to get those first people who said, yeah, like, I'd love to come with you? Like, what was going through your head?
Pinch me. This is real, Also, just how do I express? Well, here's something I had to let go of is I wanted them to have the experience that I do when I'm traveling, and you can't actually orchestrate that. So I learned that once we arrive, my work is kind of done, and I just let, in that case, Patagonia work its magic on the people, and it did. But I wanted to make sure that I still had my business mind on, because this is a business. It wasn't just, hey, let's all go to Patagonia and have some fun. It's like, okay, how do I also capture this and then recreate it and keep these people with me? And so I guess I had a lot going through my mind, but it's kind of a balance of the personal enjoyment of it, because it's really my passion and my dream come true, and then also the business side of this is something that I need to figure out how to keep going and how to do it right. And I have over 33% repeats on my trips, so I feel like there's something going right, but I think it's the people. I think it's the people that come together on these trips that have something in common. I might be a common denominator, but that's all I am. I am just the one setting the stage and inviting the people to come upon it and experience from there with the backdrop of adventure and travel.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I mean, I feel like that's what we do here at SPI too. I'm the person who's created the content, but we create the space for other people to be able to connect with each other. And that's a different level of business, that when you start to actually have those connections between each other, not just you and your audience, but your audience with each other, that's when really magic starts to happen. And to have a 33% sort of return rate is huge for something that I'm guessing isn't also cheap. I would imagine that there's a price point to this, obviously. What would it cost to, for example, go with you on one of these trips and meet some cool people?
It depends on the trip. We are anywhere from $3,000 to around $5,000. And these are all guided trips. It depends, though, on the length of the trip and the destination, of course. Some are much more expensive than others. But I've had, just recently, I had somebody say, because they can be expensive. And I recognize that as a, I started as an independent traveler. I started as the budget-minded traveler. Like, it's funny to me, but I mean, we grow and we change, and we don't need to stay stuck in any kind of way, right? We can elevate our businesses as we elevate ourselves and bring those people with us. But I did have somebody recently say, these trips are worth going broke over. I was like, well, I guess that's a compliment, because it's not like, you can definitely find more expensive trips out there. I'm trying to stay like kind of right in the middle. But aside from the money, my goal is to blow people's minds. Like, that's what I want to do on every single trip. Like, I want your mind to blow. Like, I want to watch it happen. I want you to just experience and be open and just leave changed. And so I don't think that money is everything. It's the experience.
Can you spoil us a little bit and tell us maybe one way that you blow people's minds on one of these trips? Like, what's a surprise element that you perhaps offer, a group of people like that?
Sometimes it's the accommodations. So when I create these trips, I'm not always looking, like, this is what I mean by, I'm not always looking at the price tag, because I want the experience. What is going to be the best thing while we're in this place? And sometimes you have an option. For example, we just went to Jordan, and in Wadi Rum, which is where they filmed The Martian and other Mars movies. It's amazing. It's incredible down there. There are a bunch of different options of accommodation. And one of them, they call them Martian domes. And they're essentially geodesic domes with just windows essentially to the night sky. And they also have AC, which you need down there. And they're the most expensive accommodations, but guess where we're staying? Because you need to experience that when you are sleeping underneath 5 billion stars. You've got to be able to see them at night. Like, you need to sleep in a comfortable bed after we've been hiking for 5 days to Petra, so it varies. And sometimes it's something I can control, and sometimes it's not. In Patagonia, there's a trail that we do that it's called the O Circuit, and it's in Torres del Paine National Park, but it's the big trek. A lot of people do what's called the W, which is about half of that. And when we do the O, we go around the backside, and there's a big hike. It's the hardest day. But on our last trip, we had some rain in the morning, and I mean, it was rough going. It was like Indiana Jonesing through the jungle, and then we get out and there's pelting rain because there's always wind in Patagonia. It snowed on us. I mean, it's fall in Patagonia at this time, early fall. And so you're not necessarily expecting snow, and we got snowed on, and we're just like traipsing through it, right? And we get to the top, the summit, and the sun breaks through the clouds, and you start to see these massive peaks that we've been hiking under. There's glaciers all around us. And the kicker on that one is that once you get to the top, you can overlook Glacier Gray, which is, it makes my heart beat. Like, it's just,
sounds breathtaking.
It's an incredible glacier, and you can see almost all 42 kilometers of it as you get to this point. And so that's not on me. That's the weather. That's Patagonia, right? But that is a moment that brings tears to people's eyes. And that's what I want to create. Like, I'm going to take you there so that we can have moments like that.
I love it. I mean, I'm all about experience, especially. I mean, I've written about this in my book, Superfans. It's like taking that person through a journey and helping them unlock something new in their life, whatever it might be, is such an incredible thing and a wonderful gift to give somebody. And sometimes you can't even put a price tag to experiences like that. I'm curious, with the multiple trips that you've done, have you developed relationships with different companies and vendors over there to help enhance the experience even more, maybe even make it cheaper or whatnot? Are you developing professional relationships in that manner as well?
Oh, yeah. I've been attending the Adventure Travel World Summit, which travels around the world every year, but I've been attending that since 2015. And it is through those trips, because it's not just a conference, it's also an experience and adventure that goes with it, that I have met every single person that I work with all over the world. And generally, by the time we even create a program together, an itinerary, and create a trip together, I've already known them for at least 3 years. I did the math once and just kind of thought about it. And yeah, relationships are absolutely important because I don't trust just anyone with my people. You know, I want to have the best experience. I want them to be vetted. I want them to be sustainable. I want them to work with all the local people and have the best guides and have trained guides, you know? And so, yeah, I'm slow to create trips because I want to put some time and energy into those relationships. Like the people in Jordan that I use actually met in Patagonia on a trail originally. And the guy that I'm using in New Zealand, we met in Sweden on a walking tour of the city. You know, I mean, it's, and these are all years and years ago. Yeah, the relationships are why I keep going to these conferences.
What would your business look like if you didn't go to these conferences and meet these people?
I don't even know how I would do it. I mean, I'd probably be Googling, and I don't really like that. I don't want to do it that way. I really appreciate in person, which I think is why I'm inviting people to come with me. I really appreciate personal connection and not just professional relationships, but I have made so many friends through my own people, you know, showing up and being adventure minded and being ready to be challenged. I love these people. They're so interesting. And I love when they become more than a number, like they're a download until they come and say hi. And I'm like, you have a name, you have a face, like you have a personality, you're real, like you're hiking alongside me. There's nothing quite like it, especially coming from a place of solo travel for so long. And I still live in that place, but there's a reason that I invite people. There's just so many really amazing people out there that are just absolutely making this job easy for me and amazing.
That's incredible. You know, I think that the interesting thing, you know, my mind goes to the fact that there was a period of time pretty recently that we weren't able to travel anywhere during the pandemic. And I'm curious, for a business that had been established for so long, has built these relationships. First of all, I encourage everybody to go to conferences. We're talking about it here. There's no better way to build a business than in person and to see your audience and to meet other partners and friends. But 2020 comes around. How is your business affected by that? And what's your reaction to it?
You know, it's almost still too soon for me to talk about it because it was horrible. Like it shut down the travel industry overnight. In March. I mean, I had a trip that was supposed to go to Italy that May, and I was in Morocco when everything was hitting the fan. And I mean, we got home just in time before they closed all the borders and the airports and everything. But I think for me, it was extra hard because of the story that I just told you, that my entire foundation as an adult, as a creative entrepreneur, has existed on a foundation of travel. This is who I'm traveling Jackie. This is who I am, right? It was really, really, really hard for me for a couple of years. It lasted a very long time. I'm only now in 2023 really feeling like I'm getting back on my feet from it because it was such a total decimation of so many and so much in the travel industry. So yeah, it was really rough. And I was really trying to find that, like, who are you without, you know, you can still be this and this and this. And I just, I was so upset and depressed. And yeah, it wasn't cool. I did turn to my podcast because that's something I could still do from home. And so we did a lot of podcasting and starting to explore the backyard. And that was fun. I think people really appreciated that. So there were bits of joy in there. And I hosted an online retreat that was really powerful. And yeah, I mean, I tried to pivot, but it was rough for us in the travel industry.
I'm sorry to bring it up, but oftentimes in our journey as entrepreneurs, there's going to be seasons and things that happen. And a lot of times those things are things that we cannot control. So I'm curious about your reaction to this. Obviously, it was, you know, detrimental to a lot of the things that were planned and even yourself as a person. But you also, it sounds like you were exploring other ways to find new things and to bring people along. Tell me about the sort of backyard thing that you just mentioned. What was that and how was that responded to?
I referred to the backyard as the United States because, interestingly, in all these years that I've been focusing on travel, it's always been international. Everything I write about, everything I podcast about, all the trips that I do, it's always international because that's just where I live. And so I changed the focus to where people were actually traveling, and that was the backyard. We did the Keweenaw Peninsula in Michigan, which I didn't even know about. It was so interesting. I mean, I was like losing my mind on that podcast, learning about Uper Light, and like, I mean, it was so fun. It was so fun because I was just sitting in my chair in my kitchen, but I was getting to kind of travel, and these people were actually out there doing this because they could, because it's right in our own backyard. We did Utah, Colorado, like a bunch of, I don't know, it was just focusing more on what's local and what people were actually able to do. And that was really helpful. I think it was a really healthy kind of refocus.
Yeah. In moments like that, and I have to credit Michael Hyatt for this, it's often wise to ask the question, well, what does this now make possible? Even though things are tough, even though something happened that, we can't control, well, what does this make possible now? And I love how you pivoted to something maybe a little bit more local, and it worked for a temporary amount of time until now in 2023, we're sort of back on our feet again, which is great. When did you start up again, if you will, and get back to some sort of normalcy? When did that happen, and what was your first move then?
That, thankfully, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for this trip. In 2021, I took a trip down to Baja, and that was interesting because it was as soon as I was able to travel, meaning I drove 2 hours to get a vaccination because, it was my industry. I needed to do it, and so I did it. And as soon as I had the second dose and was like able to fly, I decided to go on a trip, and I left for a month, and it was like a breath of fresh air. It was 14 months that I was stuck at home, and I went to Baja. And that's interesting because I had a choice then not a lot of choices. As you know, a lot of places were still closed, but I was looking at Mexico, and I was like, oh, I can go somewhere new. And I thought, no, I need to go somewhere special. Like, I need to go somewhere that means something to me. And I ended up going to Baja because I've spent a lot of time there, and I have done a lot of my own healing there already. And I decided to go back and try that again. And it was amazing. I'm really glad I made that decision, because when you're used to having so many options of where to go, you can kind of lose focus on what you actually need and what you want to do. And there's voices saying, do this, do that. And like, what do you want to do? What's in your heart? Like, what do you need? And where is that? That was my first trip post-COVID, was down to Baja. And then later that year, we were able to run our first group trip in 2 years, and that was to Croatia. It was a bike and boat trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we actually had 2 of those sold out because people were so ready. People were so ready to get out and get back on. That was the real kind of kickstart again. It was a slow kickstart.
Yeah. And then now, any trips that I've been on and any sort of chance that people have, it seems like it's just kind of, it's almost like, wow, everybody's traveling now, which is amazing. I just got back from my first trip to Japan, which was amazing. Have you been to Japan?
I'm going on Sunday.
Really?
Yeah. For my first time. I've never been.
Oh my gosh.
So by the time this goes live, yes, I'll have been. But no, I haven't been before.
I went for the Pokemon World Championships, and I got to go as a spectator and to meet some friends. And I was invited by Pokemon as well to come and explore and experience some of that. And it was incredible. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it was the trip of a lifetime for me. And I don't travel as much as you do, but I'm curious, maybe we'll have to connect and just kind of chat after, just you and me, about kind of what you experienced and the food and just the city. I'm so excited for you.
Oh, yay. That's really exciting. I'm going to skip Tokyo. I'm terrified of cities.
There's 38 million people there. It is so big. It is so big. I went to this place called Sky Tower, which is like 600 meters in the air, and I got to overlook the whole city. And even to the horizon from that high up, it was just city. Like, it was just flat and so many people. There's, I think, 2 or 3 million people in San Diego. There's 38 million people in Tokyo, and that's just one city. So
that's amazing.
I understand kind of not wanting to be a part of that, although there are some amazing parts of it that maybe you can explore in the future. But where in Japan are you headed? I'm curious.
I'm going to go hike Mount Fuji.
Oh, wow.
I know. I didn't even know I wanted to do that until I saw this itinerary. Because with these conferences, we get to pick an adventure to go on, and there's like a bunch of them to choose from. And I saw this itinerary, and it made me tear up. And I said, that one has my name on it. And so I got on that one, and I'm going to hike. We're going to summit Mount Fuji at sunrise. So I really hope we have good weather so that we can see.
That's cool. Yeah, I was on a bullet train, or the Shinkansen, as it's called there. And I got to see Mount Fuji on the way back. It was too cloudy on the way to Kyoto from Tokyo, but on the way back, I did get to see Mount Fuji. It's really impressive. And that, like, I'll have to ask you about that hike because that's something I'd love to do one day for sure. To finish up here, I know that community is an important part of your brand. And for the longest time, community was just, our comment section on the blog and just who you get to know there. And then over time, it's become also social media, which I know you have some accounts on. Actually, in fact, where would people best be able to connect with you on social media to chat or see what you're up to or see what trips are coming up?
On Instagram, really. That's really all I use these days.
Traveling Jackie?
Traveling Jackie. And then we're also at jump.adventures.
Jump.adventures.
Yeah, that's the company. Yeah. And I'm at Traveling Jackie. That's always me.
Awesome. But I also know that you have experienced and have explored a little bit of other ways to bring communities together. I think you're using Circle now as well. I'd love to know your use case for that and what that's been like for what it is that you do. How is that injected into your brand? Yeah,
of course. That's a great question. I use Circle to bring my people together actually in two different ways. One is before when someone signs up on a trip, they're invited to a special space on Circle. We call it Base Camp. My Circle is called Base Camp. So it's Jump Base Camp.
Oh, that's great.
And within Base Camp, I have a space for each trip that's going. And so when you sign up for a trip, you get to come into the back end. And in that space, you can meet the other people who are going to be on the trip. There are resources, links. I share all the updates there as well as via email. But it's kind of just more of a social place to say, hey, we don't have to wait until we get there to meet and chat travel and maybe make some plans beforehand with somebody else who's going to be there or after for ongoing travel.
Love that idea.
We've seen a lot of success with that. In fact, I got to take a self-guided bike trip after my Jordan trip. I went with two of the girls who were on that trip because of Base Camp, because we figured it out in Base Camp that we all wanted to do something. And this trip came together. And I mean, I'm like pinching myself that I also get to benefit from Base Camp, just getting to share travel plans and meet people. It's really cool. So that's one of the ways that we do it. And the other way is I just started a new thing that I'm calling Pod Chats. And when I am recording my episodes, I am inviting my people to come in to the backstage and be there with us and experience that podcast episode live. And so
while recording
inside of Circle.
Amazing.
I do them in the live stream. So it looks kind of like a webinar and there's a chat going on. And I have kind of two segments that we do. And first we do the podcast portion, which is just like this. And then after we wrap it up, we turn our attention to the people who are present and we get to do a Q&A and interact with them. And we do a giveaway every time. And just kind of, it's another way to bring people in consistently to just chat travel, which we're all passionate about, and kind of invite them into the back
That's super smart.
stage of my podcast, which is, it's really scary, but it's so much fun. I was really nervous for the first, couple, and I'm like, gosh, this buzz, it's like you're just electric, like in that room with these people. It's probably similar to a webinar presentation, but it just feels different. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I love that idea. I mean, that's a big challenge for podcasters is to kind of create a space for people to come together and to do that and offer a little bit of BTS or behind the scenes while it's happening. Then I bet feel like they get a first crack or first look at something before anybody else does by being a part of that group.
Yeah.
And then again, a way for people to connect with each other while they're too, which is amazing. Have you had any issues with bringing people into Circle as a result of this? And where this question's coming from is a lot of people will do this on Facebook or on, Instagram because people are already there. Had you have any problems kind of taking people off of those platforms and putting them into another platform called Circle to make this happen? I mean, not that I know of, because of course there's probably people out there who are saying, oh, I don't want to be on another thing. Like not everyone on every single trip comes into Base Camp, for example, and it's their choice. With that, that's just another premium thing that they get for signing up for an adventure with me. But the pod chats, you're going to be on something. You're going to either have to sign into Zoom or you're going to be somewhere, right? And so I don't think that is so much of a barrier now. And the way that Circle allows you to create links and invite people in, I've had to figure it all out, and sometimes it's a headache, but it's actually quite nice how they've set it up. It can be very direct. And so
I'm actually more surprised, I guess, in a pleasant way than not.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, shout out to Circle. As many of you listening know, I'm a user of Circle. We use Circle for SPI Pro and our All Access Pass, and I'm an advisor to the company. I just love what they're doing there, and I know there are a lot more plans to make community even stronger there. So anyway.
That's great.
Jackie, this has been absolutely amazing to catch up with you. I know it's been forever. I still have your CD on my thank you board over there. Which,
how far back it goes.
Right? Like, I don't even have a CD player anymore. I don't even know how I would be able to view any of that stuff unless I go to like a yard sale or something. But I appreciate you so much. You've always been an amazing supporter of SPI and what we do here. And I'm just so grateful to return the favor with having you on the show and share this inspiration for everybody. So one more time, can you share with people where they can go and find you and perhaps jump on an adventure with you one day?
Yeah. Well, I'm at Traveling Jackie, and my company, again, is Jump Adventures. You can find that at jumpadventures.com. And we're on Instagram at Traveling Jackie and at jump.adventures. And Pat, I really can't thank you enough for everything that you do and how you've impacted my life personally and my trajectory as an entrepreneur. So I really appreciate this opportunity. I'm very honored.
Thank you for that. But like you, I am just the guide. And, I'm here to bring people to where magic can happen on its own. So you did it, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much.
I love that. Thank you.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Traveling Jackie. You can find her at all the links she just mentioned. Plus, I'll have those links on the show notes page at smartpassiveincome.com/session727. smartpassiveincome.com/session727. Jackie, have fun on your Japan trip. I'm sure by the time people listen to this, you might have something on your Instagram or blog about it. And I'm excited to chat with you personally to chat about it as well, because Japan has become my favorite country. And it wasn't just because Pokemon is over there. It's because of just the experience and the customer service and the cleanliness and the food and everything. And I'm excited to bring the family back to Japan at some point later on. And I hope and I wish all of you some amazing travel experiences in the future. And just, Jackie, thank you again so much for all the support, and congratulations to you and what you've done with the brand and how you've been able to take this thing that you did when you were 18 and inject it into your entire life and livelihood and what it is that you love to do and the joy that you have with it. I saw it on your face when we were chatting, and I know people are mostly listening to this, but you practice what you preach. You help others experience the same joy that you do too, and I just commend you for that. And if we can all do that, that would be amazing. So anyway, thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you for listening all the way through. I appreciate you. Again, the show notes and all the links to Jackie's stuff can be found at smartpassiveincome.com/session727. I appreciate you for listening in, and I look forward to serving you in the next episode. Until then, peace out. Have an amazing day, and go book that travel that you have always wanted to, because just there's so much to experience out there, and I hope you get to do it. Cheers. Thank you so much for listening to the Smart Passive Income podcast at smartpassiveincome.com. I'm your host, Pat Flynn. Sound editing by Duncan Brown. Our senior producer is David Grabowski, and our executive producer is Matt Gartland. The Smart Passive Income podcast is a production of SPI Media and a proud member of the Entrepreneur Podcast Network. Catch you next week. Hey there, quick pause here because I have to tell you about a tool that completely transforms the podcasting workflow. Riverside. I get it. I used to juggle multiple platforms just to record one podcast episode. It was exhausting. Zoom for recording, Audacity for editing, and then a bunch of different apps just to create clips and social posts. I've tried other ones as well. They were okay, but they were clunky and super time consuming. That's where Riverside has massively helped. I can do it all in one place: recording, editing, repurposing, one platform, one streamlined flow. I just log in, record with my guests no matter where they are in the world, and just like that, studio quality audio and high resolution video all in one. And get this, even if your Wi-Fi glitches, Riverside records locally on your device so everything sounds and looks crystal clear. But here's my favorite feature: Riverside's AI editing tool. You can remove silences and filler words with just one click. Hours saved. With Magic Clips, Riverside also automatically finds the best moments and turns them into ready-to-post videos for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, all without the extra editing. So if you're looking to level up your production quality and simplify your workflow, go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART. It's built by creators for creators, and I think you're going to love it. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to tailorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Tailor Brands.